Today we celebrate the entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, and we begin that great week we know as Holy Week, in which we commemorate the last hours of Christ's life on earth and his glorious resurrection. Today is a day of fleeting triumph when Jesus enters the great city of Jerusalem. Next Sunday is another day of triumph, but of lasting triumph. We've just read St. Luke's account of the Passion to remind ourselves just what this week is all about and how important it is that we keep this week holy in honour of our Saviour who gave his life for our sake. On Good Friday, we will hear the same Passion story in the words of St. John. By publicly reading these two Passion accounts and by participating in them, we are helping the significance of these extraordinary events to sink home. With the procession of palms which began today's Mass, we celebrate Christ's entrance into Jerusalem to accomplish his paschal mystery. The Lord rode into Jerusalem on the back of a borrowed foal of a donkey, one that had never been ridden before. The disciples spread their cloaks on the donkey for Jesus to sit on, and the pilgrims going up to Jerusalem lay before him their cloaks and the branches of palm trees. Almost all Jewish prophets had prophesied the coming of the Messiah who was to redeem Israel from their oppressors. Jesus' followers were convinced that he was a political Messiah who would lead a rebellion against the Roman colonial rule and drive out the Romans. The people hailed and praised him as the King who comes in the name of the Lord. They recognized him as the Messiah, the fulfillment of the Davidic prophecy and the Old Testament scriptures. But Jesus comes as a humble king. He comes not to conquer by force as earthly kings, but by love, grace, mercy, and his own sacrifice for his people. He is not a kingdom, his is not a kingdom of armies and splendour, but of lowliness and servitude. He conquers not nations, but hearts and minds. Unfortunately, the crowds want to see him as the Messiah who had come to overthrow the Roman occupation. When he failed in their expectations, when he refused to lead them in a massive revolt against the Roman occupiers, the crowds quickly turned on him. Today's celebration becomes even more meaningful if the Lord makes a triumphal entry into our lives. Let not such an entry be short-lived. This is indeed a holy week, the week which celebrates Christ's victory over death. Do please spend some time reflecting on the readings of this week and the very symbolic liturgies which we follow as we remember Christ's journey to Calvary and his victory on the cross. Holy Week begins as it ends, in triumph, to remind us that suffering is a journey with a goal, not a winding road that leads nowhere. The end of the journey is resurrection.